Mel Gibson has always been a controversial figure, but now he's making headlines for a different reason. He's speaking out against a hidden agenda connecting some of Hollywood's most powerful elites to trafficking networks. With a past full of scandals and a journey toward redemption, Gibson is using his platform to expose a dark side of corruption, one that involves influential figures like Oprah Winfrey. After working with anti-trafficking organizations, Gibson revealed how wealthy, high-profile people, protected by their fame, are often involved in or help cover up these horrific crimes. Now, in a shocking new twist, Gibson is accusing Oprah of being complicit in a system that exploits the vulnerable. What's really happening behind the scenes? The truth behind Sound of Freedom, Gibson's latest project, could change everything. While the film itself is already sparking a lot of conversation, its deeper message exposes an unsettling reality in Hollywood. Directed and co-written by Alejandro Monverde, Sound of Freedom is more than just a film. It's a wake-up call to confront some harsh truths. For decades, Oprah Winfrey has been a symbol of success and compassion, influencing millions of lives. But recent revelations are starting to challenge the image she's built, raising serious questions about her ties to some of the most controversial figures in the industry. The 2023 thriller stars Jim Caviezel, the same actor who played Jesus in The Passion of the Christ. Despite being a low-budget production, Sound of Freedom packs a punch with its powerful message. The story follows a federal agent on a desperate mission to rescue children from the horrors of trafficking in Colombia. But this isn't a sanitized version of the truth. It dives straight into the brutal realities of child exploitation, revealing an underworld where young lives are stolen, trafficked, and subjected to unspeakable horrors. The film's impact is amplified by a strong supporting cast, including Bill Camp and Javier Godino. Together, they bring urgency and raw emotion to the narrative. While it may not have the budget of Hollywood blockbusters, Sound of Freedom has made a lasting impact. It's more than just a thriller. It's a wake-up call, urging viewers to confront the grim reality of child trafficking and support those fighting to end it. Against all odds, Sound of Freedom has made an impressive $250 million globally on a modest $14.5 million budget, proving that a film doesn't need a huge budget to make a significant impact. While critics were divided, audiences embraced it wholeheartedly. However, despite its strong earnings and the praise from fans, the film struggled to gain wider attention. Why? Some point to the fierce competition from the Barbenheimer phenomenon, the buzz around Barbie and Oppenheimer that dominated the box office. You'd think a hard-hitting film about trafficking would stand out, yet it seemed to fade from the spotlight. Was it the lack of marketing? Or perhaps the audience's disinterest in yet another action movie with the usual heroic journey? Or could there be something deeper at play? The entertainment industry has a long history of controlling the narrative, with powerful figures in Hollywood and beyond deciding what makes it to the mainstream. When a film like Sound of Freedom threatens to expose uncomfortable truths, especially about trafficking, getting it the attention it deserves becomes a huge challenge. Some believe that behind the scenes, big corporate players worked to downplay the film's release, ensuring it didn't gain the traction it should have. It may seem unlikely, but for those who've followed the film's journey, it starts to make sense. Since its release, Sound of Freedom has sparked intense controversy. Critics didn't just dismiss it. They attacked its portrayal of exploitation, claiming it misrepresents the issue and pushes fringe conspiracy theories, particularly those associated with QAnon. So, what exactly is QAnon? It's an online theory suggesting that a hidden group of powerful individuals is secretly controlling global events. For some, Sound of Freedom aligns with this idea, turning the film into a focal point for debate and skepticism. At the heart of QAnon is the enigmatic figure, or possibly group, known as Q, who claims to be operating from the shadows to expose these elites. Some believe Q is a high-ranking government insider, either an individual or a group, leaking classified information to reveal the supposed secret plans of a deep state. According to this theory, Q communicates through cryptic messages and codes, mainly posted on anonymous forums like 4chan and 8kun. These posts, known as Q drops, are filled with puzzling phrases, obscure hints, and open-ended questions, which followers believe contain hidden truths. The idea is that Q is offering them access to secret knowledge, a kind of inside track to uncover the truth about world events. Though it sounds far-fetched to many, a sizable number of people have embraced the theory. They argue that there's a global elite, powerful figures in politics, business, and entertainment, who are involved in dark, illegal activities like human trafficking and child exploitation. For these believers, former President Donald Trump is seen as the leader of a resistance against this so-called deep state, fighting behind the scenes to expose the truth and take down those in power. At the heart of the QAnon belief system is the idea of the storm, a highly anticipated event when these elites will be publicly exposed and arrested for their alleged crimes. Followers believe that once the storm happens, the truth will finally come out, and the deep state's grip on the world will be broken. They envision this as a kind of day of reckoning, when powerful figures will be held accountable and the public will learn the full extent of their secretive actions. Despite the theory's strange and unproven claims, it has gathered a large and dedicated following, particularly online. QAnon supporters have organized rallies, protests, and even shown up at political events, convinced that they are part of a larger movement to bring about the storm. But the theory has also been widely debunked by experts, and law enforcement agencies have raised alarms about the real-world dangers it poses, ranging from violence and harassment to spreading extremism. Despite its bizarre nature, the theory has gained a significant following. What started as an online theory has evolved into something far more dangerous, with real-world consequences. For example, many of the individuals involved in the January 6, 2021 U.S. Capitol insurrection were followers of QAnon, believing they were fighting to expose a hidden network of elites involved in criminal activity. The FBI has even labeled QAnon as a domestic terrorism threat due to its ability to inspire violence and spread extremist views. When Sound of Freedom was released, focusing on the harrowing issue of human trafficking, it quickly found itself dragged into the QAnon debate. Some conspiracy theorists saw the film's themes of hidden corruption as aligning with their own beliefs about a global network of powerful people involved in trafficking and abuse. This led to an intense backlash, with many accusing the film of being a cover for QAnon narratives. In response, the film's distributor, Angel Studios, had to step in. CEO Neil Harmon issued a statement making it clear that Sound of Freedom had no connection to QAnon or any political conspiracy theories. Instead, he emphasized that the film's focus was solely on the urgent issue of human trafficking and the importance of raising awareness about the victims of such crimes. Director Alejandro Monteverde also spoke out, explaining to Variety that the film's intentions had been misunderstood and, in some cases, intentionally misrepresented. He expressed frustration that a project designed to shine a light on such a devastating issue was being misinterpreted as part of a political agenda. According to Monteverde, the true aim was to bring attention to human trafficking, not to promote hidden agendas or conspiracy theories. What made this situation even more complicated was the response from Hollywood to Sound of Freedom. Despite the film's powerful message, it was met with reluctance from some of the biggest entertainment platforms. Streaming giants like Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon, known for championing bold and impactful stories, chose to pass on it. Given the film's compelling social message, the industry's hesitation seemed unusual, almost as if there was an unspoken consensus to avoid a topic that was too uncomfortable to confront. Critics suggested that the film was being used for political or ideological purposes, while others argued that Hollywood was actively suppressing films like Sound of Freedom because of its controversial themes. This sparked a larger conversation about control over media narratives, especially when those narratives expose uncomfortable truths about power, corruption, and injustice. Are certain issues being misrepresented or deliberately suppressed, especially when they challenge the established status quo? Let's dig deeper into this matter. When Disney bought Fox in 2019, insiders were baffled by the company's reluctance to release Sound of Freedom, especially given Disney's family-friendly reputation. Their hesitation to support a film about child trafficking raised serious questions. After holding off for months, Disney finally allowed the filmmakers to buy back the rights, but the road was far from smooth. The pandemic brought more delays, and major studios continued to turn the film down. It wasn't until March 2023 that Angel Studios stepped in to help. The resistance behind the scenes raised a pressing question. Why was Hollywood so determined to silence a film about trafficking? Could it be that Sound of Freedom exposed uncomfortable truths about an industry with a long, dark history of exploitation? With Oprah's controversial ties and the 2019 Jeffrey Epstein scandal casting a shadow over the elite, the question seemed even more urgent. Jeffrey Epstein, a wealthy financier, was arrested for trafficking young girls and allegedly running a pyramid scheme in the Virgin Islands. His client list reportedly included some of Hollywood's biggest stars and influential figures. Social media remains abuzz with rumors about the so-called Epstein list, a supposed catalog of high-profile individuals suspected of being involved in trafficking. Epstein's death in prison only deepened the mystery, with many believing the full story was never revealed. But Epstein's case is just part of a much bigger pattern. Just 2 years earlier, Hollywood was shaken by the Harvey Weinstein scandal, when multiple women accused the powerful producer of years of harassment and abuse. The stories painted a chilling picture of the power dynamics in the industry. Weinstein's fall sparked widespread outrage and exposed the lengths some influential figures go to in order to control others. Together, these scandals have pulled back the curtain on a dark side of the elite world, one that some believe Sound of Freedom is trying to expose. What's even more shocking is the suspicion that people in the industry knew about Weinstein's actions and chose to stay silent. Oprah Winfrey, once beloved as the queen of talk shows, is now facing serious backlash for her ties to controversial figures like Epstein and Weinstein. A quick search on social media reveals countless videos and posts accusing her of connections to shady characters and murky dealings. While Mel Gibson hasn't directly called Oprah out, it's clear that she's part of the elite circles he's been speaking out against. Her long friendship with Weinstein has especially raised eyebrows, with reports suggesting she even encouraged other actors to work with him. The idea that Oprah, once celebrated for her compassion and integrity, might have knowingly supported someone like Harvey Weinstein is difficult to grasp. It raises a troubling question. Who is the real Oprah? The internet is rife with speculation, with many wondering whether she was always part of the hidden world behind Hollywood's glamorous facade, or if she was simply swept up in it. And it's not just the public questioning her. Celebrities are beginning to speak out as well. In 2018, British singer Seal took to Instagram to accuse Oprah of turning a blind eye to Weinstein's disturbing behavior toward young women for years. Seal's post featured a meme of Oprah and Weinstein together, with the caption, "When you've been part of the problem for decades, but they all think you're the solution." This pointed critique cast a shadow over Oprah's carefully crafted public image, suggesting she might have ignored the truth to protect her powerful friends. When the Weinstein scandal erupted in 2017, Oprah responded on Facebook, stating she was processing the accounts of Harvey Weinstein's hideous behavior and struggled to find the right words to convey its gravity. Yet not everyone found her response convincing. In 2021, an old interview clip of Oprah and Dolly Parton resurfaced, quickly grabbing attention and sparking fresh conversation about the two icons. Originally aired in the late 1990s, The interview features Oprah asking Dolly a series of probing questions about her plastic surgeries. Known for her candid and personal interviews, Oprah's questions in this case were seen by many as intrusive. She repeatedly pressed Dolly about the number of procedures she had undergone, making some viewers uncomfortable and raising concerns that Oprah had crossed a line. Dolly laughed off the questions and famously quipped, "It takes a lot of money to look this cheap." But despite Dolly's light-hearted response, the clip reignited discussions about body image, the pressures of celebrity culture, and the often invasive nature of media scrutiny. Online reactions were divided. While some criticized Oprah for being too aggressive, others defended her approach, viewing it as an attempt to get to the heart of a sensitive topic. Around the same time, actress Rose McGowan, a fierce advocate for the MeToo movement, publicly criticized Oprah Winfrey for her ties to Harvey Weinstein and her controversial involvement with the Russell Simmons documentary. McGowan, who was one of the first to speak out against Weinstein, took issue with Oprah's long-standing friendship with the disgraced mogul. In a now-deleted tweet, McGowan labeled Oprah fake, accusing her of supporting a power structure that perpetuates harm rather than genuinely championing the victims of abuse. McGowan was particularly critical of Oprah's decision to withdraw from the documentary On the Record in 2020, which explored the allegations of misconduct against music mogul Russell Simmons. At the time, Oprah cited concerns over the documentary's narrative and inconsistencies, which led her to step down as executive producer. However, McGowan and others saw this as a betrayal, accusing Oprah of siding with powerful men like Simmons instead of standing with the women speaking out. For many of the documentary's accusers, including Drew Dixon, Oprah's exit felt like a painful silencing of victims' voices. They also accused Oprah of abandoning Simmons's victims and propping up harmful power structures to elevate her own status. Another controversy erupted, this time surrounding Oprah's connection to Brazilian spiritual healer John of God. After featuring him on her show in 2010, Oprah traveled to Brazil in 2012 to experience his supposed healing powers, calling it a profound experience. For years, her association with him seemed innocent, until disturbing allegations began to emerge. John of God was once hailed as a miracle worker, believed to possess supernatural abilities to heal the sick. However, after Oprah's endorsement helped elevate his fame, horrifying accusations began to surface. Women started sharing their stories, claiming they were abused under the guise of healing. These shocking revelations unraveled a darker truth, turning John of God from a revered figure into a predator who allegedly exploited his power for decades. One woman, inspired by Oprah's documentary and a friend's recommendation, sought healing from John of God, hoping for relief. But in 2018, his true nature was revealed when he was arrested. After a brief period of house arrest, he was sentenced to 118 years and 6 months in prison for numerous offenses against vulnerable individuals. His criminal history wasn't new. He had faced legal troubles before. Alongside his prison term, the court ordered him to pay damages of up to $20,500 for each victim. While many see this as justice finally served, Oprah's connection to him has sparked questions about her judgment. Her associations with controversial figures like Epstein, Weinstein, and now John of God have led many to question her endorsements. Despite Oprah's public support for victims and her expressions of regret, her decisions have come under scrutiny. Her platform played a significant role in boosting John of God's fame, lending him credibility and amplifying his influence. Sadly, this isn't an isolated case. Her connections with powerful yet controversial figures continue to stir concerns. The Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls, once hailed as a shining example of empowerment for young women, has been overshadowed by troubling incidents that have tainted its reputation. Opened in 2007 with the backing of Nelson Mandela, the Academy was meant to be a groundbreaking initiative offering underprivileged girls an exceptional education. Oprah invested $46 million into the project, outfitting the school with top-tier facilities and raising high expectations for its success. However, despite its promising beginnings, the school has been plagued by a series of unsettling events that have clouded its legacy. The first sign of trouble surfaced with rumors of missing students, sparking serious concerns about safety. Then, in 2009, 7 students were reportedly suspended for bullying and intimidating their peers, with some allegations suggesting pressure to engage in inappropriate relationships. One particularly disturbing account involved a 15-year-old student allegedly encouraging others to mislead investigators, further complicating the situation. The controversies surrounding Oprah's South African school took a darker turn in 2011 when a shocking discovery was made. A student was found with a newborn baby on campus. Investigations revealed the student had secretly given birth at the school, sparking a wave of shock and raising serious questions about the institution's oversight and the support available to the students. This incident added another layer of complexity to the narrative surrounding Oprah's legacy. But the problems at the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls didn't end there. Additional claims surfaced, including allegations that a staff member had engaged in inappropriate relationships with students, further escalating the growing list of issues. Oprah made public attempts to address these concerns, but reports of bullying and violence among students persisted. Many began to wonder if these problems were being swept under the rug to protect the school's reputation. This sense of secrecy only fueled suspicions about the hidden agendas of powerful figures behind the scenes. This pattern of hiding the truth is similar to what we see in Sound of Freedom, where people question why those in power keep certain truths from coming out. In Hollywood, power imbalances are no secret. Bullying, intimidation, and exploitation have become part of the culture. The Harvey Weinstein scandal pulled back the curtain on this, revealing how figures like Weinstein, Roger Ailes, and Bill Cosby operated for years without facing any real consequences. They seemed untouchable, protected by a system that silenced anyone who tried to speak up. A big part of this silence is the close-knit relationships among Hollywood's elite, who often have ties to political and business heavyweights. Together, they form a circle of protection that shields them from accountability. Non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, are key in keeping this silence intact. Many survivors of abuse or exploitation are forced into these agreements, preventing them from speaking out in exchange for settlements. These NDAs protect not only the individuals involved, but also the powerful networks behind them. Oprah's ties to figures like Weinstein show just how connected and protected these relationships can be. Challenging the entrenched culture of silence and power comes with significant risks, which is why so few people are willing to speak out. But in 2017, everything changed. The MeToo movement exploded after Alyssa Milano's tweet urging women to share MeToo if they had faced inappropriate behavior or mistreatment. What began as a simple tweet quickly turned into a global movement, with high-profile stars like Gwyneth Paltrow, Ashley Judd, Jennifer Lawrence, and Uma Thurman bravely sharing their own stories. The movement pushed the issue of abuse into the public spotlight, forcing powerful figures to finally face real consequences for their actions. One of the most impactful voices in the MeToo movement was actress Rose McGowan, who came forward with a shocking revelation that Harvey Weinstein had behaved inappropriately toward her in 1997. Her story became a turning point in the fight against sexual misconduct in Hollywood, as McGowan was one of the first to speak out publicly against the powerful producer. But the situation was even darker than it first appeared. McGowan revealed that her own manager helped broker a $100,000 settlement with Weinstein's company, Miramax, in an attempt to keep her silent. Despite this, she continued working for Weinstein's company for years, a complex and uncomfortable position that many found hard to reconcile. Though McGowan wasn't legally required to keep quiet, speaking out against Weinstein came at a significant cost. The fallout from her accusations made it increasingly difficult for her to land major roles in Hollywood. Miramax distanced itself from her, and she was slowly pushed out of mainstream film. With fewer opportunities available in the major studios, McGowan turned to independent films, but this too was limited. The toll on her career was immense, and eventually she felt alienated enough from the industry to walk away altogether. Reese Witherspoon also felt empowered by the MeToo movement to tell her story. At Elle's Women in Hollywood event, she recounted a difficult situation involving inappropriate behavior from a director when she was young. Even more troubling was how her agents and producers reacted. They suggested she stay silent if she wanted to keep her career, making silence feel like part of the job. Witherspoon also shared that this wasn't an isolated experience. She had faced multiple incidents of harassment and assault, a painful reality many others in the industry know all too well. Selma Blair, famous for her role in Cruel Intentions, also came forward with her own disturbing encounter. She recalled a meeting with director James Toback in his hotel room, where he pressured her into performing a monologue while undressed and tried to force her into an intimate situation. When she refused, he allegedly threatened her and made her witness disturbing behavior. Blair was so shaken by the experience that she only confided in her boyfriend, as Toback reportedly claimed he had powerful connections that could harm her. It wasn't until other women shared similar stories that Blair found the courage to speak out, revealing a troubling pattern of abuse in the industry. Hollywood's dark side isn't new. For decades, stories of exploitation and abuse have been hidden behind the industry's glamorous image. It's not just a recent issue. The entertainment world has long seen the abuse of child actors by powerful figures, directors, producers, and executives who appeared untouchable. Many former child stars have shared painful accounts of mistreatment, revealing the ugly truth behind the scenes. Even more troubling is how, fueled by ambition, some parents ignored their children's suffering, trading their well-being for fame and money. While some parents may have been unaware of the abuse, others turned a blind eye if it meant advancing their child's career. This culture, where youth and beauty were prioritized, helped enable a system of abuse. Legends like Judy Garland, Corey Haim, Shirley Temple, and Todd Bridges all faced inappropriate treatment, and their stories highlight the deep-rooted issues in Hollywood and the need for better protections for young actors. The level of exploitation within the entertainment industry is likely much worse than most people realize, with many victims remaining silent out of fear and shame. Recently, federal agents conducted searches at properties owned by Puff Daddy in Los Angeles and Miami amid allegations of abuse and exploitation. Lawsuits have surfaced, claiming he hosted parties involving underage individuals and substances, with some record label executives allegedly turning a blind eye in exchange for access to celebrities. Puff Daddy has denied all these accusations. His recent actions have sparked even more scrutiny, especially when considering past controversies, such as those connected to Tupac's case and troubling incidents with his ex, Cassie Ventura. These ongoing issues raise serious questions about whether his carefully crafted public image is truly as clean as he would like us to believe. Meanwhile, people like Mel Gibson have been outspoken about Hollywood's issues, even supporting projects like Sound of Freedom, which tackles human trafficking. Although Gibson has his own controversial history, his criticism of Hollywood's darker side suggests he might be pointing out real problems within the industry, problems that are often hidden behind the glitz and glam. These disturbing patterns have been present for a long time, and many believe it's high time the powerful figures in Hollywood are held accountable. Just last year, an old interview with Mel Gibson resurfaced, where he discussed the darker side of Hollywood. The timing of this resurfaced interview was particularly striking, as it coincided with the release of Sound of Freedom, a film that faced a chaotic rollout. Reports began circulating about strange occurrences in theaters, such as people being forced out of their seats and the air conditioning mysteriously shutting off during screenings. In a revealing interview, Mel Gibson shared that when he first entered Hollywood, he had a feeling that something was off, but he brushed it off as just paranoia. Over time, though, he began to realize that some of his worst fears about the industry were actually true. He spoke openly about how Hollywood is a place where only the toughest survive, and he even compared it to a cockroach, something that can endure anything, no matter how harsh the environment. Mel Gibson's career in Hollywood has been anything but typical. While he's reached incredible heights, including winning 2 Academy Awards, his journey has been marred by major controversies. One of the most infamous incidents occurred in 2006 when Gibson was arrested for DUI. During the arrest, he made a drunken anti-Semitic rant that shocked the public and led to widespread backlash. This outburst nearly destroyed his career, with many in Hollywood distancing themselves from him. In the years that followed, he faced other personal scandals, including a leaked voicemail in which he made derogatory comments to his then-girlfriend, Oksana Grigorieva. These controversies painted Gibson as a deeply troubled figure, and they often overshadowed his earlier successes in the industry. Alongside his infamous scandals, Mel Gibson has been the subject of bizarre rumors, including one claiming he believes Hollywood elites are involved in secretive rituals. While these rumors have added to his controversial public image, they've never told the whole story. In recent years, Gibson has focused on a new cause, fighting human trafficking, which has become an important part of his current legacy, showing a different side of the actor and director. His involvement in anti-trafficking work has earned him praise for his unexpected dedication to a critical issue. Gibson reportedly helped Tim Ballard, the founder of Operation Underground Railroad, OUR, by providing vital information about vulnerable children in Ukraine. Ballard has said that Gibson's insights were key in launching operations that successfully dismantled a major international trafficking ring in early 2022. As the war in Ukraine worsened, Gibson reached out to Ballard, alarmed by the risk of trafficking among displaced children. He offered to assist by documenting the situation and raising awareness for rescue efforts. This led to a collaboration between Ballard's organization, the Aerial Recovery Group, and the Nazarene Fund, all working together to combat the growing threat. With the information Gibson provided, these organizations were able to launch a series of operations that successfully began dismantling a dangerous global trafficking network. While Gibson has kept a lower profile in recent years, his actions show that he may be on a mission to expose Hollywood's darker side. After facing years of personal and public struggles, he seems focused on rebuilding both his life and his reputation. As Mel Gibson opens up about his experiences in Hollywood, shedding light on the industry's hidden truths, it's clear that the complexities of fame, power, and influence go far beyond what meets the eye. His perspective on Oprah's secret agenda raises important questions about the motives behind the powerful figures we see in the media. What do you think? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more updates. Thank you for watching, and see you again.